Good morning there. Hey guys, just going to try and make this real super quick relating to the whole issue of the Sam's Creek and the proposal mining. And of course, what's going to go on here is that what I think is going to be, the first issue, I guess, is that what Sam's Creek, whether it goes ahead or not, and that's very subjective. It may not be. This whole thing might be just an entire litmus test to kind of like fly the flag up, see how people actually react to it, learn from it, and then use those tactics for other developments or for when they do plan to actually roll it out later, perhaps down the trail. The thing that people need to really understand with this entire particular process is that we're up against mining companies. These guys are really bloody good. They will be bringing in public relations experts. They'll be bringing in psychologists. They'll be bringing in lobbyists, and they'll be basically looking at ways that they can effectively sell a bombed-out building in a war zone as a little fixer-upper in a fast-moving neighbourhood. They were the masters of knowing how to spin language correctly and also trying to turn the tables. So, for example, the other day we had the protests actually taking place outside the town council buildings. I photographed it all. I was there, right up front of Maureen Pugh from beginning to end. I believe that the gentleman that she is alleging assaulted her didn't touch her. Now, if he did, let the courts take that person, go to the courts, and let that person individually be taken and dealt with accordingly. No one has a right to touch anyone. But a lot of the things that we've seen, for example, is during 1080, for example, the Department of Conservation it was revealed that they were actually being sent over to Australia, and they were receiving funding from the mining companies to actually basically how to treat activists. And again, part of this whole thing was trying to demonise the activists, make them out to be more violent. A casual brush suddenly becomes a full-blown assault. And then it allows sort of the situation to be turned around, so National can turn around, claim they're the victim, while in actual fact, what they're effectively doing is threatening the lives and health of thousands of people with potentially cancerous causing diseases as a result, or other impacts that result from the arsenic actually potentially getting into the waterway. Not to say that necessarily that this will occur. Mining can be done in an environmentally relatively low impact way. Likewise, there may be no particular risk whatsoever at all. But the question is, before we rush in, which is what this is all about, the fast build track, it's like right, rush, boom, bang, get it all smacked on through. Before we need to do that, what we need to do, as any particular prudent person does, is go in, check the doors and corners, check the little fine print. There's things like, for example, the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. Now, that may have consequences. If the three men from Wellington turn around and say, the fast track bill goes through, and the three guys that don't include the Minister of the Environment, who has the tools to correctly assess environmental impacts, he's not included in the process. And then these guys, Shane Jones, the man who brought us the pork chop bones provincial funds, is going to turn around and we can trust them to look after Freddy the Frog? I don't think so. But the point is, if they get it wrong, things like the CPTPP, which is the TPPA 2.0, which includes the investment state settlement dispute clauses, might come back and bite us in the ass, and it will end up costing the country even more money, and we'll be even more in debt, and then we'll be even deeper and deeper and deeper in trouble. So these is basically what I'm saying, is that we need to go in there and we need to very carefully check the doors and corners before we go ahead with any kind of mining, gold mining, sustainable rare metals mining, any mining, And then we also need to question is, at the end of the day, what the cost returns in terms of this is going to bring money, it's going to bring jobs, it's great. But if we actually turn around that actually we screwed up on the health-wise, and it's actually resulting in millions being sent on the health system because we've got more and more people who are actually cancerous, or there's actually massive contamination of water, which basically destroys farming. Or basically the cultural heritage of sites that are important to the iwi get destroyed. All these things that we find after it's too late. So let's check the stuff out first. Fast track has its place, and sometimes, but it also needs oversight and it needs transparency. And we need to keep this argument on focus about are we getting this from these particular things. Now, the public relations experts are going to throw all sorts of stuff out there. They're going to try and throw the racial card, get us discussing and arguing, about race, racism, and that actually game will have its place. But the thing is, we have to really need to do is keep track on the mining issue. They'll turn around and they'll talk about any identity politics that they can make it a sex-related issue. Like I've already seen in the social feeds today, someone had to bring up trans. Frankly, again, nothing against the trans issue community. That's a community that is an issue that needs to be discussed. But what we need to do is we need to keep on track. And so when these trolls come onto the social media and they start to try and talk about other stuff, you need to shut them down and say, no, I'm sorry. Today we're going to only be talking about mining. All those other issues are very, very important. They're very, very valid. And yes, we will have those conversations at some particular time when we're discussing that particular topic. Today we're discussing mining. So my just advice is, don't let yourself be distracted. And again, don't be violent. Don't get angry. Because if you've seen what actually happens, you get all, and you know what ends up happening? You end up looking like the turkey. So keep your cool, be calm, be mindful, and be aware of the fact that these guys are smart and they will look for any particular way that they can turn the tables around and that they can become the victims and that you become the bad guys. Don't give them that opportunity. This is Ben Vidgen reporting for the Deadline Report. Thank you.